everybody, welcome to Nelly's African Kitchen, where I bring African food to the American table. Hey, thank you so much for your following. I've been asked so many times about ugali in Africa. Some other African countries call it fufu. So I will be cooking ugali with you today. It's a very plain side dish. We'll go through that. So ugali is made of cornmeal, pure cornmeal. Here in America, when I came here in America, it was so funny when I asked for cornmeal. It has sugar in it and it gets baked on it, just like a cake, a cornmeal, a corn cake, something like that. But with ugali, it's literally cornmeal. You don't put any sugar, you don't put any butter, but it's so filling and it's really the staple in East Africa. We will cook for that. It's just simple, boil water and put the flour, and you keep on just mixing until it becomes thick. And then once you serve it, you have to serve it with something saucy because it's just plain. So it's really like an acquired taste when you start it, but with time you like it. So normally when I cook ugali, I will have to cook with something on the side. Either a beef stew, a chicken stew, or maybe fish stew, and then maybe a vegetable on the side. So today what I decided, because tomorrow it's on a weekend, I'll be cooking ugali, but I do have ground meat here. I prepared for the family. I'm gonna be making a very quick ground meat. I decided to put peas on it because I was looking at my fridge today. I don't have any side vegetables, so you know what? Anything that I can sneak into the food to make my little babies eat healthy, I try my best to do it. So I'm gonna sneak in the peas inside, and of course carrot inside, and of course onion, tomatoes, and the cilantro. On this side, the dry ingredients is literally curry powder, a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, and I have a secret ingredient here. So this is called beriberi, and this particular spice is from Ethiopia. I really like mixing some of the spices in my food from different types of the countries to kind of bring that yumminess in my food. So I'm gonna add on my ground beef. But here's the kick though. Since me and my husband love beriberi, it's very hot. I'm gonna cook, but at one point when I serve the kids on the side, I'm gonna just take a little bit of it and add beriberi, cook it a little bit more so that can be spicy for us. But if you guys just like it spicy, you know what? You can just cook it with the spice, or maybe put a little bit. Or if you don't like beriberi, you can just cook without beriberi or without any spice. So it's up to you. So as we continue with this video today, I just want to encourage you to visit my website, nellysafricankitchen.com, and there you'll find so many recipes I'll be cooking, and also a bunch of wine there. Before you start cooking your ugali, one thing that I forgot to tell you, remember you really need this. That cooking item there is very important. It's a cooking stick. I don't know how you call it, but I call it cooking stick. You know, in Kenya we call it mwiko. So make sure you have this because you can't cook ugali without that. So anyway, that being said, I do have the wine too. We have wonderful wine, and today I'm gonna be enjoying my cooking with one of my wonderful wine, which is Gogo Malo. As I've said, if you followed my videos, Gogo means grandmother, and this is one of my best Malo red wine, which by the way goes very well with the meat and so many other food out there. So check it out in my nellysafricankitchen.com under Movinho Winery, and you will find yourself a bunch of very great wine you can pair with whatever meal you like to pair with. And even very importantly, especially on Christmas now, our packaging, apart from the great product we have, can be a very good gift to your friends or family. So I hope you check it out. In the meantime, I will go ahead and pour myself Gogo Malo. And you know, let me not pour in the ugali here. That will be terrible. So One thing about this wine, the Gogo Malo, the name means grandmother. And let me tell you, if there's one thing that reminds me my grandmother back in Kenya, hello grandmom, if you're watching, is the ugali. She cooked ugali for me from since I was a little baby, 2 weeks old, until now. So until when I came to America, literally. So anytime I cook ugali, I remember that sweet lady back in Kenya. So let's go back and cook now. Thank you. You wait for the ugali, the water to boil. It has to boil for your ugali to be good. Then after that, you just keep on adding the flour. You know, in terms of the measurement, you will just measure the water based on what, you know, how many people you're gonna be serving. So you see, you're gonna just keep on stirring like this, but be very careful though when you're putting the flour. Be careful, because you see what it does, it can be dropping. That when it starts boiling like that, please reduce the heat, because if you're not careful, it can really drop on you, and it's painful when it drops on you a little bit. I mean, not to scare you, but just wanted to let you know. So you might be curious why I'm adding little flour at a time. The reason why, you don't want to put a lot of flour at the same time right away, because it's not gonna cook good. So it has to just go slowly. You have to go through those steps. It has to go through like a porridge process before you really add more flour. Because if you add a lot of it, it might get too thick quickly before it really cooks very well. So the heat should always be around medium, so that it cooks well, and so that it can really have that sticky consistency that is good. So I love cooking ugali. Sometimes I think ugali is kind of an exercise, a process, because if you see my shoulder here, if you see what I'm doing, look, I'm doing like this, and you might wonder why I'm doing this. This is really, I'm trying to break you see what I'm doing? I'm trying to break the flour, because if you look closely, you'll see there's some kind of flour, still some little balls, some little patches of flour. You see like that? It's hiding there. So when you go through this motion, you're really breaking that flour like that. You're breaking down the flour, or flour, how do you call it? I will just say unga. Unga is the right way to say in Kenya. It's unga means flour. So sometimes my husband laughs when I say flour or flour. I'm like, okay, I'll just say unga. That's really the corn meal itself. So you see, I love that consistency, and let me tell you, anytime you see that, like that crust starting to build like that on the side, you know your ugali is cooking very well. You have to make sure you have a very good cooking pot, because sometimes if you don't have a good cooking pot, it starts burning very quickly on the bottom before it really cooks. And here's one thing about ugali is when you cook it slowly at a time, you have to, you see, the reason why I'm doing this, kind of a habit to do it, is to spread the ugali to stick on the pot, so that the heat can really enter the ugali every side, and it can cook very well. And sometimes as you cook ugali, you have to be pausing, let it cook side by side, little by little, slowly like that. And I know some of you will be telling me, oh, be careful with the cooking stick, it might burn. I'm used to doing that, so don't do that if you're not used to it, because you might end up burning yourself. So, but you can put on the side, let the ugali simmer a little bit every other few minutes, and then you turn it. And I'll keep on turning the same. You see? So when you want to know a good ugali is when you're cooking, look, it's kind of just, it's detaching from the cooking pot. And the consistency, you see, it's kind of a sticky kind of a consistency. So, and the more I mix it like that, I realize it's cooking good. And if you see closely, you realize all those little flowers. The flour is kind of broken down a little bit, but it's okay. Sometimes when you're starting, you might realize when you serve ugali, you might find a few bits of flour in it. Don't worry about it. It's not like it's poison. You can scoop it on the side or eat it. It's just a corn meal. So I'm gonna wait that one a little bit. In the meantime, I will start cooking. I will start cooking the ground meal. I've already put the onions on it. I'll spread a little bit. I use olive oil. I love my plastic here. It makes my life easier cooking. Just squeeze it in here. And most of the time with the oil cooking, I just try to make it as easy, simple as possible. So many people have different ways or how much oil they can handle. I like little oil. I don't like a lot. So, but if you can put just something little to make the onions brown, that's what we really need. So I'm gonna let the onions start cooking. Once they're brown, I'm gonna put some spices on it. I like putting curry with it so that smell, the aroma can come out. Again, not everybody likes curry powder. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. You can just do it like that. Today I did not put garlic because I already cooked another chicken here earlier for tomorrow, and I put garlic a little bit. So this one I'm gonna stay away from garlic, but if you like garlic, you can put it. So I will let that one brown. Let's go back to ugali. My ugali here looks like it's really getting so good. And you know what's funny? When I was raised up, we couldn't afford bread. So guess what? It was our bread. When grandmom was cooking, we'll be fighting with my cousin sometimes to have the crust from ugali, and that used to be our bread. Until now, I taught my kids, and every time I cook ugali, everybody will be like, "Oh, the crust is mine this time." So it's kind of, it's kind of a little snack you can have. Oh, my ugali is ready. I'm just gonna. Did you see that bread coming out? That's a good cooked ugali right there. The cooking pot is good too because it's not sticky, it's a non-stick. So that is the bread I was talking about. That one, I'm telling you, I don't need to be buying any chips or, I can let this cool down, and I'm gonna be either eating it, or I'm pretty sure if my daughters here know that I'm cooking ugali, they'll be running to get it. So this is how you just shape ugali after you cook it. And the best thing is, to do that is you do it just for presentation. Some people just put it, stick on it, and they serve like that. I like having a good presentation of ugali. So, and the only way, another trick to make it so soft like that, you just water the cooking stick a little bit in a running water, just very quickly to make it wet so that it doesn't stick on it, and it will give you a very nice, wonderful round shape. There goes my ugali here. So what I will do is I'll go ahead and cover it like that. That's the African way of doing things. I'll cover it there and wait for the stew to get ready, and then we'll go from there. So here I am. I'm now browning my onions for the browning. And with my onions, I like them getting a little burned a little bit because I like that smell a little bit. Some people don't like it like that. That's fine. You don't have to brown all the way. So I'm putting that curry a little bit to just give it that little aroma, that smell. And let me tell you, if you can put the curry or maybe roiko or bouillon once the onions are getting golden brown, it brings that an aroma. And anytime a visitor comes in, trust me, it doesn't matter if you're a good chef or not, that smell by itself will make you look like a good cook because of the smell. So I always have to put that on to kind of bring that smell a little bit. So after that, after browning like that, I will put a bouillon on it. And you can get anywhere, whatever, just put 1 cube on it. I'll just crush it on it. There you go. Mix it a little bit. And since my onions are getting more brown, I'll go ahead and put my meat now in it. Let's just breaking it a little bit so that it doesn't break it into pieces a little bit. And I'm making a very big batch because of my family, of course, but as far as the ingredients is concerned, if your meat is a little bit smaller than that, then the bouillon you can put half of it. The curry powder is really for the smell to begin with, so you can put just a little spoon, half a spoon of powder on it. But be very careful with the salt later when you put it, because most of the bouillon already has salt on it. So don't over salt it by putting a lot of salt on it. I'm gonna mix this a little bit here. I'm gonna mix it and try to break the ground meat. Break it down a little bit here and make sure that all the mixture here blends in a little bit. Always go with a medium heat as much as you can to kind of give you enough time for all the ingredients to cook well and mix well without over burning. So now here we go. I will let that one cook a little bit. I will cover it and wait for it to cook. There you go. I'll let it simmer. I'll be stirring it until the ground meat really starts cooking and becoming brown, just to make sure the readiness and all that from the ground meat is gone. Then I will incorporate all the vegetables and all the other things and maybe put a little spice at the end to just give that little kick. So I'll see you shortly then. Okay, my ground meat here looks like it's cooking good here. It's cooked. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little salt, just a little bit to taste. Remember, I'm gonna be putting berry later after I remove the kids portion of it. So berry has some spices and it's a little bit salty on it too. So you have to be careful not to over salt it. It's always better to put less salt. You can always add on the food than having a lot of it. So I'll put the carrots in it. I'll put the tomatoes on it. I'll put the peas on it. Just to let you know, this was frozen peas. So I already steamed it earlier a little bit. So it's cooked, because I always try to do my cooking, to make my cooking very quickly, to make sure that I really don't waste time in cooking. So sometimes I prepare things like that very quickly so that it's easy to cook. I'll put like half a cup water to just have it simmer. Then I'll put it on the medium a little bit so that everything can simmer in together, and then I will mix it together. Okay, I'm putting a little bit, not a little bit, like a spoonful of curry powder to kind of thicken the soup a little bit. Because remember, I'm trying to make it a little stew so that you can eat with the ugali, which is a little bit dry. And then here's my little secret I talked about. You know, I'm kind of lazy today to put the food on the side. Since I have the chicken already cooked there for the kids, I'm deciding I'm gonna put the whole thing here spice. And I have my friends coming tomorrow to visit me. Maybe me and my husband and my friends can have a nice lunch. So there you go. I'm putting 2 spoons of it. I like it 2 teaspoons. I like it a little bit hotter. So Ethiopians have 2 spices that are very hot. There's another one called mitmita, and this one is beriberi. Beriberi is a little bit milder than the other one. The other one, the mitmita, it's way very hot. Sometimes, you know, once in a while I use it, but I have to use it very sparingly because I can't handle the heat that much. But one thing I like about this beriberi, first of all, it really makes the sauce thicker. It has a very good smell on it. You see, just because of a lot of sauce on it, I had added a little bit of water. There was a little bit, you know, it was getting a little bit watery a little bit, but you know, putting beriberi all of a sudden is just making the whole thing, you know, the soup is now becoming a little bit thicker, which I love it. I'm gonna let it cook a little bit, and then after that I'll put my cilantro on it. Again, if you don't like cilantro, you don't have to use it. You can use parsley just for the color. I always like colorful food for some reason. I just love it. So I try to put something green, something, you know, something colorful. Kind of gives me a little appetite. So I've mixed it together. You know, the piece I'd already cooked for it, so I don't have to overcook it. My goal was to make sure my meat, ground meat, is cooked very well. And this is one of those meals. It's easy to cook, it's healthy, it's quicker, and also for those who have kids, I love cooking my kids' food to go to school with it. This food is so versatile, the ground meat with all these vegetables. Sometimes I can make it, you know, with something else like a naan or chapati, which I think I don't know if I've posted that yet. And also rice, if you don't like ugali, you can also make it as a, you know, you can eat it with the side of the rice, all that good stuff. And by the time it stays until tomorrow, trust me, all the spices have marinated well, and it's even tastes even better. On that note, I think I'm gonna simmer that food a little bit, and then I will be ready to serve ugali with my stew. My stew is ready here, and I'm ready to serve it. Our ugali is ready here. I have cooked ugali here, and I also have my stew here. I'm gonna cut a little bit. You know, as I said, ugali is like a thick, it's almost like a cake that's not baked. The only difference is I did not bake, I cooked. So here we have, and then I'm gonna serve. There you are. I am serving my ground meat with carrots and all the good stuff in it. And guess what? I am ready to eat there, and that's how we eat it. That's really good. And just in case you want to know how they eat in Kenya, normally we use our hands to eat it. In this case, I'm in America, I don't want to do that. But sometimes I do it, by the way. So you can always dip it and eat it together. And there you are. A good meal, healthy, filling up. And of course, don't forget to add that Nelly's African Kitchen Muvinho Winery. Hey, remember, on that note, do you remember the chips that I just came out of the ugali underneath? I love it. And you know what? It's just a corn chips. You can also use this one, and there you are. They say you can take a girl from the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl. Every time I see this cracker, I'm just giggling. I can't wait to finish it. If you enjoy the meal today, you know what? As we prepare for Christmas, let's remember, do take care of yourself. God bless you, and God bless America. Bye-bye.